check her brows out and see what we can do to give her the fullest, most modern brows we can. The first thing I see is it's a case of being a little bit unbalanced. Her left side has been over-tweezed, so there's too much of an arch in it, exposing a little bit too much of the brow bone. So it's taking away from her actual eye area. So what we want to do is we want to get this to fill in, which will take some time and patience for her to actually grow it in. But there's a few things that I'm going to do today just to fatten up the brows and make them a little fuller. So we've got this great sort of frame for her eyes, because she has these beautiful green eyes, and a strong brow would be really great on her features. So I'm going to get rolling and do my thing. Okay, so the first thing I did with Catherine is I went in and did a little bit of color enhancement, and what that's done is it's picked up some of the lighter hairs on the outer perimeter of the brow, so it makes them fuller. It also deepens the hairs a little bit, which will sort of define the color of her eyes, because it picks up some of the deeper tones in her hair, and it will just give a stronger statement from the eyebrows. So now I'm going to go in and start shaping around what I've done with the color enhancement. I'm going to do just a little bit of trimming, just to take some of the length away. I don't want to take too much, because that's what gives it that really cool modern edge, is having that little bit of a brushed up feeling. You don't want to get them too manicured. It can be a little bit aging if the brows are too overdone or made too thin. So we want to keep them in a fuller, blocked off shape, reminiscent of 50s and maybe a little bit of the 60s Hollywood, but with a modern edge. And you can see that already, just by deepening the color, it's already balanced the brows, and her left one doesn't look as overdone as it was before. Now I'm just going to tweak the shape to balance them further, and then we'll have her just grow that left side in, so that eventually we'll have them matched. Most people have some difference in their brows. One might be a little higher, one might be a little more arched, so don't focus too much on them being twins as much as perhaps just sisters. They should be similar, but they may not always be identical just because of the growth pattern or the position that they naturally grow on the face. And if you try to overcorrect too much, you can create more trouble than you had before. So it's just subtle removal of maybe 2 hairs on the top, 2 hairs on the bottom, and that's what balances the brows. But what's nice about Catherine's is that the thickness is very youthful and very modern, and it's a nice blocked off feeling in the way that it frames her eye. It starts at the inner corner of her eye or just slightly inside. The peak is what used to be known as an arch. I like to call it a peak because I think an arch is rounded, and I don't really feel that's a good shape to have on the face. But the peak sits just outside the iris, which is the colored part of the eye. Sometimes if they get too overdone and it's too far out, you have a nice upward turn, but then the end gets very short. So you want to be sure that you're not taking too much out from this way, and you keep this end nice and long. That'll keep the elegance in the brow and keep it from looking over manicured.